Hello, the game has started. It's me to go first. I have a pretty dreadful rack. Just the one vowel. Is it bad enough to change? I could play dipped, keeping BTW for 14 points. I'm going to change, and I think I'll just keep a solitary T, or maybe keep DIT. That's a little better. I don't think Pithoid is good, but it's a balanced rack, so I should be able to score. Pithoid is good. Wow, fantastic start for my opponent. And quite a few floaters for me to consider. So I'm just going to work my way through them in order. I can't see anything with the E. What about the M? No. The R, I've got the oid ending. Nothing's coming to mind. O and the I don't look promising, and the D is a duplicate. So how to sort this rack out? I could play Hoi across here for 26 points. Can I do anything better? Pithoid doesn't work. The rack leave's not too bad, but it's not great. However, it does work quite well with the floating E's on the board. HM is good. Okay, I'm not seeing anything better than Hoi. So I'm going with this. Quite nice. I would have had triploid through the R, but that's been blocked. I can't see a 7 with this rack. Now, what about this floating E? Wow, pretty good for my opponent. Back-to-back bingos. And a couple of new floaters to consider. But firstly, the E. Do I have anything with the E? Not seeing anything. How about the L? That doesn't look promising. And the S and N. Well, I'm not seeing anything, so the P is my scoring tile. What can I do with that? And I certainly want to play off one of the I's. Hop is good, and oil. But that's where the story stops. So I could play tip. Wow, this is just a tricky rack to deal with. I've got the Diplo prefix. I'm just waiting for a bingo to pop into my mind, but I don't think that's going to happen. So how about playing piloted? There's nothing in this rack which is massively worth hanging on to. Piloted for 26. I'm providing a slightly hot spot for the Z or the J, but I'm behind, so I don't think it's a problem introducing a little bit of volatility. I think it's a good thing. And there is the X, which isn't the J or the Z, but may be able to generate some score for me. Certainly no bingo with this rack. Hox is good. So I have Rex and Hox, but the rack leave's not particularly great with that. Aid is good, so I have AX. Koi is good, but I don't have any KAX words because there aren't any. The G and the K don't go well together, but I'm going to struggle to play off G, A and X. My K can go after Hoy. Now my K can go in front of the O. So maybe it would be worth playing off the K and keeping the X for next go. So I have Gak, and that's quite nice. The rack lever is good, it scores well. So I think that will be my play if it remains available. And it does. Great. Opponent finally slowing down, just the 22 points. He hasn't provided anything great for me. Gak is 39 points, which is a good score. And I'm providing nothing with that play. Nothing goes in front of KO and nothing goes in front of GI. Come and say hello. This is my cat. You somehow snuck into the room. So, back to the action. And I'm just playing Gak. There we go. So, a similar rack to last turn. I've still got the X for score. I've still got Rex. And I trail by 90. Nowhere else for the X. Nothing goes in front of Prof. So suddenly the board's looking a little tighter. My Rex spot has been taken. That's a good play by my opponent. He doesn't score very much, but he's probably sorting his rack out and identifying a hot spot that he can take out. So I don't have an alternative X spot that I had lined up. I have X and locks, but that doesn't score very much. Wow, I was going to say I had a BAX word, but I don't. And oid isn't good, so I can't play box in that spot. I could play axe, AXE, but it's leaving a lot of scoring potential for my opponent, and it's leaving a poor rack leave. I don't have any 6-letter plays with X in second place. And this is a similar spot to above Hoy. If I play axe down here, I'm not scoring a huge amount. I'm leaving a poor rack leave, and I'm giving a big scoring opportunity for my opponent. So I'm looking for something a little better. But I may not find it. Very tricky trying to avoid the vowel-heavy rack leave. 13 minutes on my clock, 54 tiles in the bag. So, what about playing axe here? 30 points. Very tricky spot. I feel there has to be something better. What about X? 23.7 fewer points and a worse rack leave. So I don't like that. What about X down here? 22.8 fewer points. Still dangerous. Is there a way of hanging on to the X? I don't think so. It's got to go. I'm playing X here for 30. Horrendous. Rack leave, or rack deteriorates. And I'm really going to struggle to sort this out, and I'm behind. And I've given my opponent a good spot for scoring. Uoi is good, which I could play in column 4. That would be better than changing. 12 points. Still both blanks to come. 8 takes an E, so I've also got Uoi in row I, but that doesn't feel as good. Uoi above the E, quite nice, in that it obstructs the dangers that I've created with Axe. And although I want an open board when my rack is so unbingo-y, it's beneficial to close down some of the openings, I think. I can't see a play which sorts this rack out and scores off the X. Now, if there were a floating L, I could play Louis or Uri through an R. Can't see anything similar through the M, possibly Meow, M-E-O-U, except D-E-R not good. Okay, pretty good for my opponent, 77 points, another bingo. Great rack and nice, well, and the first blank goes, that's what I meant to say. So, what to do? I've got Uoi in a couple of spots now because I could play it parallel to large uns, but I'm inclined to play it down here to keep the board more open. So Uoi for 12. Pretty good. That's a lot closer to a bingo. Through an R, I would have Sombra. The R of Prof not available. Do I have something through the N or the S? Well, I'm not seeing anything. However, this rack is a lot better than the previous one. So I could play Brome through the R, keeping RES, opening the board, scoring quite well, decent rack leave. So do I have anything with the P or the R? This rack looks so close to a bingo, and certainly when you're 130 points behind, missing a bingo would be an expensive error. And I've got the floating I of Uoi available. Biometers if a T was in the right spot. I'm just wondering if there's a 7 with this rack, but I'm not seeing it. So at the moment, I'm thinking about playing Brome. What if that's blocked? Well, I guess I could play Biome through the I, playing off the same tiles. 20 points. Okay, well, that spot's been taken, but my favoured spot remains available. Brome for 27. Not good. The F and the V go particularly badly together. However, Versify is good. But I don't think there's anywhere on the board for that to go. And another good play by my opponent. He doesn't score very much, but he's taking out 2 really good bingo lanes. Am I sure there's nowhere for Versify? Yes, I am. So what to do? I certainly want to split up V and F. It would be nice to play off both of them. And the Y. And it would be good to try and keep the board open. That's quite a long wish list. Umu has restricted the top of the board to really plays through the P and the R. . Just looking for plays across the top of Axe because I have EY in this spot. but I can't see a way of playing off the F or the V. I could play 5, but the score's pretty dismal. 10 minutes on my clock. Just wondering what I have down onto this E. But if I play onto that, opponent just needs to play parallel and he's completely wiped out the top of the board. So that doesn't feel like a great play. I could play versify through the S. Let me see what this scores. 20 points, keeping the S. And I think, although I'm taking out the N and S as floaters, a play down from the Y is going to create new floaters. And I need to sort this rack out. And this is a way of doing that. So versify for 20. Not great. No 7 here that I can see. Can't see anything through the P or the R. I'm 120 points behind. So, back to the plan. What do I have down from the Y? Nothing. Just going back to the P in case I have a bingo, but I'm not seeing one. I've got nothing across the top of axle, none of my vowels goes in front of the X. Column 15 is available as a bingo lane, provided something goes next to the U, and an S does. But I can't see a bingo with this rack plus an E. U always takes nothing after it. I'm just thinking of ways of opening up the bottom of the board, given that I've got nothing through the Y. A play of DWEEB would leave a decent rack leave. But I think playing that down from AI isn't a good thing to do. Nice play from my opponent. He takes out the bingo lane beginning with R. So do I really have nothing beginning with the Y? Well, I have yeared. Maybe I should do that. Wow, pretty grim rack leave, but I'm creating a good bingo lane, or 2 good bingo lanes in rows N and O. Still 23 tiles to come, including the Q. Is there a slightly better play? It would be good to play off one more vowel. Well, I think this is just a difficult starting rack, having 2 I's and a U. So I'm going with this. Not bad, balanced rack, and I've got the Z for score. Can't see a bingo with this rack or through any floater. But maybe I can score well with the Z. ZHO is good. But nothing then goes in front of AI. Opponent now on 130 points lead, nearly 140. A play of Cuz would sort the rack out. I need to leave rows O and N alone. 8 minutes on my clock. And I need to try and leave a decent rack leave. So what I'm looking to play off is Z and U, which Cuz would achieve, but I'm just not seeing anywhere for that. And a play of Z, although it's scoring over 30 points, leaves a pretty ropey rack leave. Cox is good, but I don't have anything using the Z, and I want to play the Z because it's hampering my bingo prospects. Well, I could play Capiz, keeping USE. That doesn't feel great. Do I have something in column 13? 7 minutes on my clock, 18 tiles in the bag. Really struggling to see anything with this rack. And the tiles I'm really looking to get rid of are the Z and the U. Maybe there just isn't anywhere. Well, I could play upsize, wrecking the rack. And I'm not going to do that. There's no way that is optimal. Tricky position. Maybe just play Zo. I'm going to do this Zo for 15. Now I should be able to play off the G and the U. I can't see any bingos with this rack. Possibly Gaussiest onto a T. Can't see anything onto the R or the D. Zo hasn't opened up anything. So I think next turn I need to play to open up the top of the board to attract my attention away from the R and the D, which are my good lanes. Great, opponent has not blocked R and D. Only scores 22 points. So I'm really looking to play at the top of the board and play off at least the G and the U. I'm looking to see if I've got anything down onto the B, and I'm not seeing anything. And the trouble with playing in column 13 is that it gives an opponent an opportunity to play across row A and block the column 15 bingo lane. 14 tiles in the bag. So I'm going to play Gub. It stops my opponent scoring in column 8. It creates a bingo lane beginning with G. And the rack leave is good. Great. Has my moment come? So I have grey size beginning with the G. Do I have a bingo ending in D? Almost certainly yes. Probably ending ED. I'm going to run through the alphabet. And I have in mind this rack. Casified. That will do. With the blank as an F. Now Zo takes a D in front. All the Ds have gone. Probably would have been worth checking that out before I played it. However, well, I've got the blank, which could be a D, so do I have a column 1 play? No. So, I think Casified is my play. Now that puts the F, the blank, on the double letter square. So let me go back to my run through and try and find try and find a bingo with the blank not on the double letter square. So that was casified. Four minutes on my clock. Not seeing anything else. No, okay, so casified it is. And quite a nice pickup. But I'm a bingo behind, 2 tiles in the bag. So I think the game is lost. No bingo lanes on this board now, apart from column 15. So I have venality and natively. And, well, natively is the only one which would fit were it not for Umu, and Umu blocks it. My T can go in front of what? But I don't have a bingo beginning with G. So my strategy now is to lose with the smallest losing spread. So do I have a play in row B? V something something TY. Don't think so. Nothing else goes in front of what or what. So at the moment I have no candidate moves. 2 tiles in the bag and the Q unplayed. Seven minutes on opponent's clock. If opponent has Q and I, there are spots for that. Okay, 34 points for my opponent. He has provided a spot. I think what A is good. It is. So do I have any I something A plays? 3 minutes on my clock. So INA or ITA. Well, ITA is good of itself. The opponent's probably not going to go out. So ITA would be 55, which is quite a nice score. There are vowels on this board. I think this score is so good that even though I'm going to have a tricky rack next turn, the score on this makes it worthwhile. So ITA for 55. So no vowels on my rack, so I'll be looking for the vowels on the board. I have Vlai on my rack. Just wondering if I can use the E of brome. I may struggle to play off my V. Well, I have Lev. Nowhere for Levy. For Levy, rather. The A contributed 14 points to ITA. Maybe it would have been worth hanging on to, but I'm not sure. 55 points is a big score. And the game is lost. So at the moment, all I'm seeing is Lev through the E's. For not very much. So what about good scoring spots for the Y? I've got Ryu for 10. 6 minutes on my opponent's clock. $27 for my opponent. Has he created anywhere new for me to play off? More tiles than just VE, LEV, L and V. 2 minutes on my clock, and I trail by 80. And is there really nowhere for Vlai? Well, I don't think there is. Certainly not coming to mind. So how about playing Yin? 17 points, that's a lot better than I'm getting with the V. Is there anywhere to score more than that? Opponent's got INS, so I think he's almost certainly going out. I'm playing Yin for 17. And I'm just wondering if Veles is good. It is, so if opponent doesn't block that, I do have an out. If he doesn't go out, he may think I can't go out and not go out himself. But if he doesn't block Veles, I shall play there. And if he does block it, well, I've got Ale for my L, but it's pretty slim pickings on this board. And opponent does go out. And the final score, 377 to me, 468 to my opponent, a winning margin of 91 points, so well done to my opponent. Let's see what I missed. It was me to go fast. Toop for 16, keeping BDIT. Probably a better play than changing, but not massively so. Opponent's rat, great start for him with Emeroid. Now, this looked semi-promising. No bingo here. So more importantly, no bingo miss. Tofi, G5. Yeah, I think that would have been a better play. Right across the top of Emeroid. What did I do? I played Hoy for 26. Yeah, which is then in the mix. Great play by my opponent. Great start to the game, rather, with 2 back-to-back bingos. Now, this was another tantalising rack. And no bingo, and I played Piloted. Blocking opponent's Profanes. He has no bingo, plays Prof. Now I play Gak for 39. And the other plays look fairly similar, not obviously better. Opponent's rat plays Hond for 9 and is now 90 points ahead. And I struggled here and eventually went with Axe for 30. I didn't like it, but I'm not seeing anything better. And that's great for my opponent. He has a choice of bingos. And I'm now 140 points behind. I play Uoi, but not at H11 because I didn't want to take out the N and the S as floaters. I preferred to play it down here, even though it was 6 fewer points. Horrible rack for my opponent. He plays Wa. Now, there is a bingo here. Embosser through the S. Well done if you saw that. Wow, Embosser. Okay, I didn't see that. And I played Brome for 27. Keeping ERS. Well, the bingo, certainly the better play. Opponent's rack plays Umu. And now I have Versify, but I couldn't see anywhere to play it. So I play it, but not as a bingo. And Ref would have scored 16 more points, but kept ISVY. I think Versify is preferable purely on grounds of score and rack leave. I think a rack leave of S is more than 16 points better than a rack leave of ISVY. Opponent's rack plays Enlargens. And I play Yeard reluctantly. I felt there was a better play, but I'm not seeing one on that list. Opponent plays Oon, and this was a rack I really struggled with. C's K10. Wow, tricky because it's sticking this E in row O, taking out bingo lanes, providing a super easy scoring spot for my opponent regardless of his rack. So I don't like that. And nothing is jumping out at me, so I think Zoe is fine. Especially with the solitary blank out there as being the only front hook. I am in need of a couple of bingos to catch up, so creating that lane is actually a good thing to do. Opponent plays back. And I play Gub. Tricky to assess these moves because Gub is keeping a bingo rack leave and the other plays here aren't. Opponent plays Watts, and now I have Casified. There was nothing else in row O, but there was Escalier and Crecia onto the R. And I trail by a bingo now, but it's too late. Opponent plays Cat. I have Ita for 55. Opponent plays G. And now I play Yin for 17. I could have got 26 for Yon. Ah, making Ryu and No, that's quite nice. And then opponent goes out with Snake for 16, which was the best outplay, so well spotted by him. A pretty brutal game. Whenever one of you starts with 2 bingos, your opponent is in a very tricky position. They're at least a bingo behind. And the board is generally quite open after 2 initial bingos, which makes it easier for your opponent for you or your opponent, whoever's got the 2 bingos down, to keep scoring. So they're very much in the driving seat. I wasn't able to get back into the game, and ended up losing by about a bingo. But there were some very interesting racks to deal with there. Certainly the ones you struggle with, you might find them unpleasant, but they actually present some of the biggest challenges in the game, and it's particularly interesting when you analyze a game afterwards to find out what the computer thinks your options are with that rack. Slightly galling that the computer takes less than a second to come out with a whole host of options when you've struggled for 3 or 4 minutes, but that is the nature of technology, and it's good to be able to have the facility to check your racks after the game. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed watching that game, and I will see you next time.